Hello and welcome to this Back on Track episode. And today we're talking about a new song. It's called Evermore, and it's just received its name because I have a single word of the lyrics written, and that's Evermore. So this is a song at the very beginning. There's enough of an idea there for me to feel happy to present it to you, but it's in absolutely raw form. It's still a palette of ideas, and I want to talk about that really early stage of the songwriting process before there are any lyrics or anything of any real substance. So let's go through the various different motifs and ideas that I've got. And it started with finding a really cool rhythm on Machine. In fact, Machine and Groove Agent are at the moment just doing very basic stock things, so I'm not going to talk about them. They're really just straight out of the box. You can see that there isn't even any edited information for either of the instruments because they're just doing what they're doing in the background. I've got some presets going and they're just basically cycling over and over again. But it all starts with this bass line. I think I've got a cool bass line. So I've just looped around 4 bars and we'll listen to that and then we'll start talking about some of the other music that's going on as well. So you can hear what I mean by raw. There's obviously lots of fluffs and mistakes and timing errors. I don't care about any of that at the moment. This is just about the idea. I think that bass line is really cool. It's in C Phrygian dominant. Another one of these occasions when I just pick a random scale, say that's what I'm going to write a song in C Phrygian dominant. It's a really good place to start because it breeds creativity. But being constrained to 7 new notes that I've never played anything in Phrygian dominant before, I don't think, and this really cool bass line came out. So on top of that, I'll just mute the guitars for a sec, we move over, and now on top of that bass line, so I've got this kind of thudding groove laden thing going on, so we bring a Juno pulse in. Sounds like it needs quantizing. Okay. So now we're really starting to move the head. I want to write a song that makes your head move. That's the purpose. Let's bring the guitar in. So I'm expressing the more violent side of my personality, but it grooves, I'm moving, this is what I want. So that's all cool. So that's the germ of an idea. I've got an idea now that I find that if I can sit listening to a 4-bar loop like that for an extended period of time and just find myself trancing off and closing my eyes and kind of vibing out on it, then I know not to mess too much with it. It's very possible that this entire song will have that in the background. Well, at the moment you can see that it does. I've just repeated it out for 3 minutes or so, but it's actually entirely possible that that will be the song that I don't need any chorus or variation of the underlying structure. I don't know. When I pick the bass guitar up again, if I can find another cool lick that goes with it, another cool bass line, then I'm more than happy to sacrifice these things. But I also acknowledge that it is possible in the vein of like Protection by Massive Attack or Connected by Stereo MCs, songs that have that absolutely consistent thudding thing going on in the background, then that they can work. I mean, Connected is a particularly good example because it has a 1-note bass line. For the entire song, you just get 1 note on the bass line. It's just absolutely unbelievable. just deep respect. So here we go. We've got our 4-bar groove, and now I'm starting to think about what kind of melody do I want to add over the top of it. Can I come up with melodic motifs or ideas that are going to help me turn this into a song? And so the first one we've got is the Juno's got this melody line going. These are completely different melodies. I don't know whether both of them will survive, or either of them, or anything at all. Like I say, it's really early days of the song. Something, Evermore. That's all I've got. It's the only word of the song. I'm going to make sure that everything else fits around that. I'm quite happy to take these kernel ideas and say, right, okay, I've got absolutely no idea why it's called Evermore or what the song's going to be about, but I'm locking it in. I like the word. It works. Okay, so after that we've got a guitar solo, and this is particularly crazy bonkers. The guitar solo as it stands at the moment is an absolute catastrophe, and I kind of love it. I'm starting to find more and more things about it that I like, and the way it's evolved is that over several sessions I'll put an 8-bar loop on and I'll just solo again, just 15-20 minutes worth of just playing the guitar, and little licks will fall out, maybe a bar long or 2 bars long. The thing is, if I then put that down and come back a couple of days later and mute that track and start again, I'm going to come up with a completely different set of ideas in all likelihood, because I've probably forgotten everything that I did previously. Got a memory like a sieve. So I end up with this situation where I've got 5 or 6 different melody lines that if I then go through and cull all the best stuff out and stick it onto a single track, I've got this like palette of 1 bar here, 2 bars here, 4 bars here of just interesting motifs, and you can see some of the stragglers just lying around. When I decide which bits I like and which bits I don't, and I'm not done yet, I'll come back and I'll do more sessions, and this is in the process of evolution. Eventually I'm going to get to the stage where I've got an 8-bar solo that I really like. We're not there yet, but I'll kind of close my eyes and hope that this isn't as disastrous as all that. Let's have a listen to what the guitar sounds like at the moment. So yeah, I kind of like it, particularly the beginning. There's a really weird thing where, because of the way that I cut it up, you get these really hard stops. I was just in the middle of playing other notes at the time, and I just thought, well, that's the only bit I like. And you get some really interesting artifacts that then become an intrinsic part of the sound. So anyway, we'll see where we go. But I've set about like starting to relearn that guitar solo, because very often I've absolutely no idea what I'm playing, and if I can't remember where on the guitar I've played it, it can be actually difficult to learn. So it's really weird trying to relearn my own music and struggling and not being able to play it very well. It's like, well, anyway. Then we've got a second keyboard line down here. So coming out of the solo, we've got another MIDI part. So back on the Juno again. This bit at the end, I'm leaving it running. So that's where I am at the moment. I'm at 2 minutes 44. I'm looking at the clock, I'm looking at the song, what we've got so far. Is there any value in that structure? A big chunk of vocals. These Juno lines could very well end up just being the vocal line and throw the synth sound away in its entirety. So that's where my vocal lines come from. Sometimes it's a synth line, sometimes it's a guitar. So yeah, those Juno melody lines could end up just not being there at all in the end and being sung. Does it work? Does it work to come out of that second melody line and then go to a sparse thing where I bring all the music back and we do a kind of subdued throbby thing for a while? I was sufficiently excited with this one to think, right, let's start a new Back on Track series. I've just got Hummingbird out the door, and that's my first ever song, so I can say that I have actually finished something now. And I wanted to start with a completely blank palette, and over the last few days I've been really throwing this together and coming up with all of these different motifs, and I've just got to the stage now where I think the beginnings of a song are starting to form. I know what it's called. I've got no idea what the lyrics are going to be about or what the theme of the song is going to be about. I've got no idea how long it's going to be, whether any of these melodies will survive, but that's all really exciting. I think this is, I want to show you the whole journey and not just a nearly finished song where with all the lyrics, most of the lyrics written and everything polished and finished and the structure in place. This is a complete nebula at the moment, just a big swirling gas cloud of all of this stuff, and I'm going to try and now start to make it coalesce into something that's a little bit more coherent. So we'll see where we end up. Hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please consider subscribing, and if you hit notifications, you'll find out when episode 2 of Evermore, amongst other things, get released. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.